Grigori Rasputin, possibly one of the most peculiar figures in history, originally a Siberian peasant, could barely read and write. But he becomes a very influential wandering preacher, manages to reach the Tsar's family and gets involved in politics. How he managed to get this far is still, for many historians, a not entirely resolved but central question. With his extraordinary charisma, his piercing eyes, and theatrical performances, he seduced people. He had an irresistible attraction to women and held sexual orgies. He was known for his insatiable desire for women. Despite his demonic and unkempt appearance, he was successful, and it goes even further. He is said to possess supernatural abilities. He is a self-proclaimed saint and miracle healer. But he and his actions are highly controversial. In some circles, he is referred to as the Russian devil or Antichrist. What's behind it? Who was this man and what was his secret? The biography written by Edward Radzinski, The Secret File of Rasputin, new discoveries about the demon at the Tsar's court offer interesting insights into Rasputin's life. He was born a peasant's son in a western Siberian village. In his youth, he is said to have drunk and stolen. But at some point a change apparently comes for him. For example, it is said that he was once able to find the neighbor's stolen horse and name the hiding place and the thief's name. He is credited with his first healing successes. He goes on pilgrimages and travels from monastery to monastery. These journeys may have made him who he was. He is described as a very mysterious person. Some people at that time already believed he had made a pact with evil. He was accused of being a follower of the Klüsten, also known as the Flagellants, a sect with ecstatic elements that did not recognize the practices of the Orthodox Church. He turned away from the usual way of worship early on, and he became a controversial figure. When we talk about holy people or prophets, we think of people who stay away from sins. But here we are talking about a person who sinned deliberately. In his teachings, sinning sexually, for example, played a role in liberation. His eyes captivated people. Those who were impressed by his gaze and his manner introduced him to clergy, such as Father Michael. He enabled him to meet high-ranking clergy in St. Petersburg, like priest Theophan, with a letter of recommendation. In 1904, the skinny, unkempt peasant arrived in St. Petersburg, where more was possible for him. Word quickly spread about him and his abilities, but did he really have these abilities? Did he know techniques that were unknown to people and still are today? Did he master the technique of hypnosis, practice black magic, or was he a charlatan? Some suspect a less serious possibility, namely that he belonged to the shamans, who still have an unbroken tradition in Siberia to this day. It is believed that a shaman can heal the sick by having his own soul retrieve the soul of the patient during a journey to the afterlife. Be that as it may, perhaps his greatest success, and thus also the door to great fame, was the case when Rasputin was called to the Tsar's court to heal the Tsar's son Alexei. He suffered from hemophilia and had bleeding. The doctors were helpless. Rasputin was the only hope. Contemporaries and doctors confirmed that Rasputin was able to stop the bleeding several times in an inexplicable way, just with his hypnotic gaze, without even touching the boy. The Tsars were now convinced that Rasputin was the answer to their prayers, a saint. However, their joy and religious conviction made them ignore Rasputin's uncanny lifestyle with sexual and alcoholic excesses. He was a strange saint, but somehow he was able to convince people. In 1914, he moved into an apartment near the Tsar's palace. People even sought Rasputin's advice on political decisions. But he also had his enemies. Conspirators tried to kill him several times as his ties to the Tsar's family strengthened. He had made it all the way to the top and maybe even went too far. Rumors spread about a sexual relationship with the Tsarina. Conservative monarchists wanted to kill Rasputin once and for all. When he returned to his home village, he was the victim of a knife attack. He survived that, but back in St. Petersburg, he was lured to the palace of the Russian nobleman Felix Yusupov in 1916. This is where all the magic was supposed to end. He was served a cake and wine, both laced with deadly cyanide. They wanted to poison him and then throw him into the Neva River. Rasputin ate and drank cheerfully without any signs of poisoning. Yusupov took his revolver and shot at Rasputin. At first, he was lying on the floor and the doctor confirmed his death. But later, when they wanted to take his body away, he suddenly woke up again. Rasputin tried to escape, but was finally finished off in the courtyard with a shot to the head. He was then thrown into an ice hole. His disfigured body was found. In 2004, a documentary was released on the British Broadcasting Corporation called Who Killed Rasputin? The British Conspiracy. It is claimed there that the British Secret Service was also involved in Rasputin's murder. Interestingly, Rasputin reportedly wrote a letter to the Tsar a few weeks before his death. In it, he claimed to predict that if it was the Tsar's relatives who caused his death, no one from the family would live longer than 2 years. Just 2 months after his death, revolution erupts in the Russian capital. A year and a half later, the entire Tsar's family was murdered by the Bolsheviks. Rasputin remains a mystery to us. Under the new revolutionary government, the body of the Holy Devil, as he is sometimes called, was exhumed and burned.